Good. Did I not? Sorry. The best analysis I've seen is that the only way we're really going to eliminate beef is when this artificial protein, things like Impossible Burgers, begin to be cost effective and widespread. And that's probably something that's not going to happen for at least 15 years because of the technology. It will need to be bacterially produced or biochemically produced. So the serious analysis is, you're absolutely right. Eliminating beef would probably be allow us to replant forests and sequester something like 20% of the total amount of greenhouse gases, 20 to 25%. But it's probably 10 to 15, 20 years out that people will willingly give up beef and go to this Impossible Burgers and those kinds of things. Because one, they'll be more cost effective, and two, they'll taste better.
I wish you would do a fourth session, because some people are open to the idea of just giving up beef altogether.
Okay.
I think dairy is going to be a hard sell.
I
Giving
don't
up
think
dairy
as
is gonna
much,
be-
because there are perfectly acceptable alternatives.
Yeah, but dairy cattle don't use the same amount of land area as beef cattle. If you gave up beef cattle and kept dairy herds, you'd still be able to reforest tremendous amounts of land. It's not just the beef itself, it's all the wheat that goes into growing the beef and the hay and so on, instead of foresting. It's not dairy cattle don't use the same land area. So if you're narrowly focused on eliminating greenhouse gases, and that's what you're interested in, it's the beef industry, not the dairy industry, that's significant. So yeah, we could look at it. I've only seen one clear report that turned me on to this concept. But again, it's not a technology that you can point to and say in 5 years, do this. It's,
Has anybody else heard? Oh, sorry.
No, go on.
So, there's another issue here having to do with the technology that goes into these things. For instance, the dairy cattle is a good example of an approach which is totally destructive and results in, for a variety of reasons, in other effects. For instance, feeding dairy cattle by shipping what they eat from California to the East Coast, keeping dairy cattle in a shed which is air conditioned. These are all things that have grown into that technology, and the whole approach, the genetic approach to those animals, has been oriented around, factors that are totally contrary to issues associated with carbon, generating carbon dioxide. So, it's in a lot of the agricultural stuff, there's a real need to rethink how to do it. Now, how long that's going to take and how much of a role, I don't know. But so I think, distinguishing between beef cattle and dairy cattle may make some difference, but both of them, because of the way they're being done, are at fault in respect to the amount of carbon dioxide generated.
Okay, so with beef cattle, from what I read, which is only one somewhat long report, they said the replacement for beef will be this engineered protein that looks like beef, but will be produced biochemically in factories. And that's a technology which is it's real, it's approaching reality, because you can buy Impossible Burgers, even though it's not cost effective. And they don't substitute the steaks, they substitute the hamburgers. But you can see a way clear in 10 to 20 years for that to happen. What's the technological replacement for dairy?
Fish. Why don't we, I mean, I think locally we should be encouraging farmers markets. We do have agriculture, we do have farmers. People do buy their food from, at least in season, from farmers on the Cape. And
Yeah,
we
but
should
what do they do in the winter? Starve? You have to have a solution that is
fish,
economically.
shellfish, and encourage it locally as much as, instead of discouraging people to buy their beef. I haven't eaten meat since I was 19. That's just a choice. But I'm just saying that our local efforts should maybe replacing diesel on fishing boats. I don't know what the possibility is there ever, but that's one way we could make our fishing fleet more climate sensitive. I don't know where that's
Okay.
going to go. Or grow your own shellfish out here. And that's with diesel, not diesel trucks, but you have electric trucks for the shellfish industry.
Okay,
That's my,
Has anybody else heard about, there's experimentation with lab produced meat?
no, I don't care.
I'll try to resurrect the report I sent out that I read that went into it, that educated me about the possibility. As,
Yeah,
this report is extremely optimistic and thinks we can get to net zero by 2035. But it had some points I hadn't considered before. I don't think it's going to happen, but. However, let's go back. Is there an alternative to dairy? I haven't heard of anything biologically. Carol, you're on mute. If you,
There are all kinds of plant milks. I don't know, a dozen different varieties. There are all kinds of plant.
I don't really
cheeses.
like them. I don't like them.
Well,
They
tough.
don't compare.
You don't consider it an alternative. It's satisfactory and preferable to many people.
okay.
So there are a lot of alternatives to dairy.
Mhm. All right, we should think about it. Okay, I'll try to find the report and circulate it, and we can send some thoughts out and have another discussion and possible another session to this series. It's definitely something that's further out in time to being economically viable. But that doesn't mean we can't start doing other things now, like giving up beef, as opposed to eating a beef substitute.
I mean, the Wellfleet market offers several alternatives to dairy.
Right.
Almond milk is one of them. There's another one. And I mean, I know people who certainly stopped drinking regular milk and use those alternatives.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let me see what. So I guess we got on, that would be considered our climate mitigation plan. Do you think we should try to sponsor these kinds of sessions locally? Again, to hold them in town and advertise them? Doing them, you
I
know,
like having the Zoom presentation.
yeah, the Zoom
Talking Zoom
presentations,
or in person.
I would think in person. Because we already have canned Zoom presentations. We can do them over and over again and retape the same Zoom presentation, but
Well, I think you did a good job, and I think, yes, we should show them locally or give
I,
talk locally.
that Zoom presentation looks very good because somebody did a severe editing job on it. The original talk was nowhere near as good as the video that I sent around. He just edited number 2. I haven't seen it yet, but his patience with me may be wearing thin. And number 3 is in the can. I'm going to send it to him today. They're also hopefully going to run them on the local access TV station.
Great.
Maybe that's the way to do that. Also, the Cape Cod Collaborative, Climate Action, Cape Cod, what is that organization?
Cape
Yeah.
Cod Climate Change Collaborative, I
Right,
think.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're putting the
Yeah, I
links
think
in their
that's it.
newsletter to the Vimeos.
By the way, I didn't read the details, but I just saw today that the Cape Cod Climate Change Collaborative is looking to hire a staff person
Yeah,
for the
part-time.
first time in their existence. So that's pretty significant for them. They've done a lot without having any staff.
No,
So
they already have a paid executive director now.
really,
Yeah. Right.
Rich
It's
Delaney, right?
inevitable. Anyone you hire always hires an
oh,
assistant.
Rich Delaney, yeah, but I'm not sure he's paid, to tell you the truth.
Oh.
But anyway, he's working on it since he retired from his job.
Mhm.
But in any case, if anybody, I think it's an administrative position and a communications coordinator or something. So if anybody knows anybody who might be interested, they could take a look at that.
Mhm. Okay. Robert, bring us up to date with the Global Covenant of Mayors.
He's on mute.
June and July are the time when most of the towns are revising their submissions. And they have to be finished with this revision process by the end of July. So that's the activity going on, and the organizations that have helped a lot of towns do this basically have their own staff available to look at issues that are raised by people who are trying to redo, whether it's the mitigation side, which is focused on reducing greenhouse gases, or it's the hazard side. People are concerned about how they describe the plans that are being executed by the towns to address these issues. And there are a lot of details in the system they have for collecting this information. So that's principally what's going on in that community at this point in time. Everybody is updating, what they've done. It may be that they're submitting a new greenhouse gas inventory, which reflects the changes that the towns have made in respect to that, or a more explicit plan for dealing with hazards, whether it's an approach to, fixing the roads that will be flooded or what have you. So all of this is being updated, and then it gets reviewed, and they change the global database and reflect the changes.
So I should probably go out and read all the meters again. And this time, I guess I have to make a concerted effort to read the output from the landfill as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Even more reason, because this year, for the first time, we now report on what we did in the landfill.
Yeah, and then part of this submission on mitigation there is to be very concrete about what was accomplished in terms of reduction.
How do we measure that?
How do we measure what was accomplished?
Yes, what reductions we made.
Well, I mean, there are other things that were done, like the result of installing solar panels on buildings owned by the town. Have
Well,
measurable reductions as a result of that. I mean, there are a lot of examples that are,
Well, presumably, we've now offset 100% of the town's energy use because of the capped landfill,
right.
right?
And
Is
that,
that
that would
going-
be reflected in, you know, in updating the submissions.
Okay, so we have to put that in the plan. What about reduction in energy usage as a result of all these systems we've been installing under the Green Communities Act? Do we have any measurement of that?
Well, there were some things that were done in the green community thing that focused on objectives in terms of, well, energy reduction. But I think those, you know, a lot of that information comes out of the database that is the, you know, is the principal thing for measuring. Not, this is not people, it's what the town government and what they control does. So there, and we're dependent upon what's her name, and who's been updating those submissions.
Margaret Song.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay,
I don't know what her deadline is in respect to how much gets entered, as there's a little time problem there in respect to the end of July deadline for updating what the town has submitted.
so have you talked to Margaret recently about what our time frame is and whether she's doing anything, what information she needs from us?
I have not had recent contact with her.
Okay, is it
So-
worthwhile doing that?
I can send an email to her asking her where she is and what's completed and what's not.
Okay. In terms of grants, how are we doing? Do we have any requests out for grants, or are we working on anything?
Not really. The only update with that is that, and I heard this through Carol via her correspondence with Suzanne Grout Thomas, is that there's a possibility of a grant project for 2 generators, one for the COA
Mhm.
and the other for either the police or the fire department. So Carol, we're waiting to hear back from Suzanne on that.
Yes, I just informally mentioned it to her when I saw her. And,
Yeah.
you know, whether she'll take us up on an offer of help, I don't know. But when the grant becomes available, we can certainly get back in touch with her and see if they need help. And I think it was the fire station. Does anybody know whether the fire station and or the police station have generators?
I don't know if they have them.
I would imagine they do, only because I think they may even be required to have them. Sure.
Yeah, I would think so.
Maybe it's replacing one.
Could be.
It wasn't the setting to go into an in-depth conversation with her, but
Yeah.
when a grant becomes available, I can certainly contact her.
You mean a
Yeah.
grant opportunity or getting the grant?
A grant opportunity.
Do we know, but don't we know what the deadlines are likely to be, or do we just wait?
Sure. And also, yeah, Carol and I were discussing this. We don't necessarily have to wait for one grant funder to open up. We can look around at other opportunities to see if we match with what they're willing to fund,
Mhm.
i.e. generators. So, yeah. So, yeah, we can work on that.
Might be
around for that and
worthwhile
then
to
just
write
reach
a
out.
grant application to get the two generators stating the need and stating what we'd like, and then send it out to different people based.
I would think
They all
so,
have
yeah.
different questions. I mean, you can't just write a grant without the application.
I guess.
No, but what you want to do is research and see what grant makers out there would fund a generator. And
Yep.
find out their timetable. And I'm assuming there's more than one source. Instead of waiting once a year for green communities to open up, or maybe they open up twice. They have 2 cycles going or something. I never quite understood that. But there was one last month and then again in October.
Did we
I
submit
think for
something last month?
stragglers or something. Yeah, last month or like in May or April.
Did we
that,
submit anything?
That's
last
when the
month?
application. Oh, pardon?
Did we submit anything last month?
Yeah, that was the whole thing that we worked with. Margaret was in on that. That was for the police car hybrid. Was it hybrid?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the green communities thing. There was a few things that went in on that.
Okay, because typically that's $100,000 to $130,000. A police car hybrid probably they only pay the difference, so that would only be about 20,000, right?
Green communities. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that was managed.
Oh.
What the matching funds were.
No.
We almost had a guess. I belong to
The
too many committees that have the name climate action in them. Okay, sorry. Sorry to interrupt you.
So the other thing that I was thinking about is, I think I sent this to the committee. Dick, I know I sent it to you, but it was about, no, you sent it to me, the EPA electric school bus initiative. So that, as you know, it's the Cape Cod Collaborative that manages the school bus services for the Cape.
Mhm.
And we had reached out to them. And at this point, this was before this article came out about the EPA initiative. So they just kind of said, you know, we're holding off on that for now.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I don't know what to do about that. I mean, I'm just assuming just to play it by ear and not step in and mention it to them again. I'm not sure.
I would recommend we mention it to them again, saying, look, there's new funding. And even though you have some plans for gas buses, you still have old buses around that, and here's new funding sources.
Okay,
And
Yeah.
as a committee and as a town, we think you should look into it. And then we should go talk to our friends in Orleans and Eastham and Brewster and so on, and ask them to write the same letter.
yeah, that's a great idea. Okay,
I mean, we are their customer, right?
Yeah.
In these towns. And, you know, if they get it from more than just us, it might help. In fact, if you wrote a draft letter to them, and then we sent it to the energy committees in all of those towns, and that would
and
be
send it as,
Provincetown through Brewster, right? Because those are the towns that contribute kids to Nauset. Right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the thing is that if, now my understanding is that the outer Cape, our outer Cape Energy Climate Change Committees is not meeting until September. So
Right.
I would have to do this through committee and not
So,
like just,
right, so if we drafted a letter, we could send it to each committee individually on behalf of our committee, saying we're sending this kind of a letter, but we think it would be beneficial if every one of the towns in the Nauset region also sent a similar letter. And
okay, so that's.
give them the
we
backup
can do
article
that.
and, yeah. Why don't you do
Okay,
that?
we can do that via, okay. And that's okay to do via email without having a whole meeting around it.
Right. We can delegate
Okay.
the authority to write an email on our behalf. If you want some help on the wording, send it to anyone on the committee you think can help. I'm sure you can write well, but if you want some, yeah, Carol?
Worthwhile enlisting, seeing if the school committee was interested in signing on to such a letter.
Good idea. Yes.
Mhm. Yeah, great idea.
Mhm.
So I can help with that.
Okay. So if we got the letter as a coherent thing saying there's an opportunity here, there's a very good reason to go after electric school buses. There's grant money available. We would urge you to pursue this, and then we could meet, or a couple of us, or you could meet with the school committee and talk to them about it. Maybe get on their agenda.
Isn't there a schedule of a Cape and Islands meeting for all of the energy committees?
It's coming up
Yeah.
soon. I just got a note.
July,
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I think something could be done in that context in order to reach all of the towns.
We should
And
do that too. Yes.
Yeah, so
that's
I
a
think that
great idea.
Right, because the Cape Cod Collaborative probably deals with every town on the Cape. I'm not
They
sure.
do.
about Virginia.
I think it's like everybody except for Sandwich or something.
Yeah, so maybe if you had the draft of your letter and what you're going to share with these other committees, we could also put it on the agenda as a discussion item for the Outer Cape Energy Committees.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Good. Okay, I will probably start posting the Amhayam videos on our Energy Committee website. Because I need a place, so I keep getting requests for them, and I need some place that I can copy them from and put them out. I now have the first session had 2 videos, and the next session has 1. And the last one's in works. Yeah, Suzanne, what?
That reminds me, I was going to bring this up, but the Cape Cod Climate Change Collaborative,
Yeah,
they're offering websites to each town's climate committee,
mhm.
climate change committee. So do we want to pursue that? And that might be at least one place where you can upload those videos.
Put a link to them. They're on Vimeo. You don't want to have it in more than one place. Let's see. So we have a website, and now the question is, if we use them, we would essentially take that as one page and refer them to our website. The real question is, everyone on the committee ought to look at our website from time to time, discover how out of date it is, and figure out what they would like to say. Please let me invite everyone to write something coherent. You can just send it to me as a Word document, and I'll put it on the website in the appropriate place. All right, you don't have to deal with being a webmaster or anything.
I am working on a thing about climate footprint and calculators. I'm almost finished, but I ran out of.
Okay, you're writing it as a Word document? Or what?
Yes.
Something to go on the web?
Yep.
Yeah, well, give it to me in any convenient format and I'll put it on our website. Okay? How about you, David? Do you have anything you're interested in?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. How's the planning board doing?
It's doing, doing.
Blessings on you.
I heard someone complaining at one of the meetings that the select board just keeps reappointing committee chairs
Yeah,
when they should drop them from the committee.
yeah.
Must have
People
been
have
all-
lots of opinions, but that's one of them for sure.
Yeah. I thought immediately of our friend Jerry.
Yeah, he's been in there a long time.
Right. I guess it was Olga that was complaining that he refuses to give the planning board the material they're going to discuss until they show up at the meeting.
Wow.
That's never happened to me.
You have all of the whole packet before you go to the
Yeah.
meeting?
Ever since I've been on the planning board, we always have it.
Okay, then I don't know what she was talking about.
I have no idea either. That's completely wrong. We get it 2 ways. In the beginning, before pre-COVID, we got very detailed packets we would pick up at town hall every week, the week before our meetings. And then in COVID times, we've gotten both a electronic version of the packets and paper copies.
Then I wonder what Olga was talking about.
I think
You
what
can
Olga was,
ask her.
actually, I think what she was talking about, she wanted more detailed background information about something. I don't remember, but we get traditional packets. We get everything we're supposed to get as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Okay. Chuck, you faded into the background.
And the sun
So-
is going down. I
Hmm?
don't have a lot of interior lighting here.
Ah, okay. So there's one other topic should bring up. I've been chairman of this committee for a number of years. Would anybody else like an opportunity? We should probably have election of officers at some time and think about whether other people want to do something. I have a lot of roles and I don't mind doing it, but I also don't want to not monopolize things. So if somebody else is interested, please drop me and or the committee a line on any of the jobs.
You're a tough act to follow, Dick.
Amen.
Mm.
I don't know. Again, turnover is a good idea from time to time. I'm all in favor of it. Okay. Anything else anyone would like to bring up? Either old business or new business? No. Okay. Then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion that
moved.
we
Second,
adjourn the meeting.
Okay. Well, let me do a roll call. Chuck,
Yeah, aye.
Dick, I, Carol,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Suzanne,
aye.
and Robert.
Aye.
I was gonna say you could have been voted, but okay. See you all next month.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Dick.
Hey, bye.
Have a good,
Bye.
see you next time.
Bye.